Okay. Now finally we're on to the good stuff. Let's start talking about punches. So the jab. You've probably all heard about the jab. You know what a jab is. It's your lead hand straight punch, right? There's a number system for boxing. I don't like to use it. I think fucking who cares about it? But a jab is a 1. Now, what is a jab? Bang, right? Bang, bang. Now we have to start bringing in a lot of elements we've previously learnt in so much as stance, posture, and weight distribution in particular in order to launch an effective jab. Why is the jab used? I'm sure you've all heard about it. It's used for controlling the ring, setting traps, finding range. It's probably your busiest punch. And it's known for the jab wins fights. Fucking whatever, who cares? Let's just learn how to throw the jab properly. So, rule number 1 is remember to stay relaxed, right? And we talked about this in posture. So when we're in our boxing posture, we are relaxed. We have relaxed shoulders and we have the capacity to be loose with our punch because we are loose at the shoulders, right? So here's me all cramped up, As a result, I cannot whip my punch or find snap in my punch because I'm rigid, right? Telegraphable, exhausting, shitty, generates poor amounts of force and is easy to get out of the way of or not be a victim of, right? As opposed to staying loose with a jab, nice and relaxed, my hands are loose and I'm here, yeah. So there's a few things that happen behind a jab, and we still need to consider rotation, particularly across the shoulder, actually, more so than the hip, I find. What is a jab? So where do we exist when throwing a jab? It sort of goes lead shoulder and opposite shoulder at the same time are going to rotate. So I'm here, right? Bang, we have this happening. The pull, I'm still 60-40 on my feet. I'm gonna pull my opposite shoulder and rotate my lead shoulder. From there, the jab comes out. Now, the jab coming into full extension, there's a few things that have to happen. One, and this is really, really, really important and fundamental with all punches, your shoulder becomes a line of defense. The shoulder of the jab hand becomes a line of defense. We've got this hand and we've got this hand. We've got a good defensive line. As soon as a hand leaves our chin, we're exposing ourselves to danger, right? So the shoulder becomes what that guard effectively was. So I'm here, I'm in my posture, chin tucked, I throw my jab. I look down my jab, chin down. Right? I'm looking down that punch, but see how this shoulder becomes my new line of defense. Bang. Yeah, I think that makes sense. So let's say someone comes to meet me with a hook while I throw that jab. Bang. That can block any incoming punches coming from that side. So rule 1 is always remember to defend yourself, and even while being offensive, your offense can still provide defense. As opposed to this, right? I throw a jab, I'm down here. My chin's ready. It's fucking lay me out, please. Here's my chin, punch it. So when practicing the jab, we pull the shoulder, pull the opposite shoulder, let that line of defense come up. I want your chin to always feel your shoulder when you're practicing throwing the jab for now. We need to remember to keep our hands nice and loose and relaxed when we throw our jab. As I mentioned before, stiff hands and these like fucking tight knuckles are just gonna slow your punch down, eliminate whip and snap, and make it a worse punch. So we're nice and loose when we throw our jab. Now, right, so we've got our boxing stance, we've got our guard, I pull my opposite shoulder, my jab comes out. We need to think about where the weight is. When I throw a jab, a big common mistake is to lose the weight off your back foot and start thinking or falling into like a 70-30 trap. So what does that look like if I'm in my boxing stance and I throw a jab? I fall forward, 70-30. I'm overcommitting, my hips are behind me, and there's not a lot I can do. This is a bad habit that any good boxer will notice, and they will begin to exploit it. As opposed to favoring a 60-40 model when we throw our jab. 60-40, chin is down, and I'm looking down my punch. Chin down, look down the barrel, nice posture, 60-40, look down the barrel of your punch, pull the opposite shoulder. Right? So, the jab. Jab mistakes, overcommitting to the jab, not letting the shoulder roll up to touch your chin, exposing your chin. So, mistake 1, lazy jab with no shoulder guard. Mistake 2, overcommitting to the jab or messing up your weight distribution for the jab. And lunging. So that's lunging, yeah? Overcommitting to the jab, falling forward. Here I am, here's my chin, knock me out, please. They're probably the 2 main mistakes early days on throwing a jab. So if we can be conscious of the fact we want 60-40, down the barrel, looking down, that shoulder becomes the line of defense. We pull the opposite shoulder. We're nice and loose with our jab. This is the basis for developing good habits for a good jab, right? Let your shoulders rotate. The snap of the shoulder is the key to throwing that good fast jab. So another point that needs to be mentioned is the return of a punch. So your ability to get your punch back to your chin is equally, if not more important than your ability to put your punch out. So, excuse me, punch return, very important. Your main cue is to remind yourself to get that knuckle back to your chin. It's very, very simple, but it is the cause of so many knockouts and people getting so badly damaged in boxing. It's having a lazy return. We see this particularly when people start to get fatigued. You know, fundamentals start crumbling when fatigue takes set. So here's an example of a shitty return. Here, yeah, it's a good looking jab we're about to see down the barrel of the punch. Bang. Note, please note what we're seeing here. Yeah, bang, bang. The path of less resistance. It's just much easier to drop a hand and let it go straight back to the body. We want that punch to come exactly back from where it left, right? The return to the chin is very important. Don't forget to bring your punches back to your chin, and that rule applies for pretty much every punch. Indirectly, it will help with chaining your punches and generating more force off the punches, but this is a concept we can experiment and I'll talk about later.